In my previous tutorials, I showed you how to set up the avatar descriptor. So we should have the avatar facial expressions menu and the expressions menu and parameters. We're going to be working with those three today. To start, let's create a new folder for it. In this folder, we're going to name it toggle menu. In this folder, we are going to create a submenu for our toggles. To do that, right click, go to create VRChat avatars expressions menu. We're going to name it toggle menu. Now that we have created the toggle menu, we're going to add it to our main menu. So go back here, add control, make sure this is the main menu here, and we're going to call it toggle menu. Gonna make sure the type here is a submenu, and we're going to drag and drop the new submenu into the control. Once we're done with that, we're going to create the animations to toggle on and off the parts of our avatar. To get started, let's create the animations. Right click, create, down here it says animation. Let's toggle our hat, for example. So we're going to name this animation hat on, or whatever thing you want to toggle. I'm going to duplicate it, rename this animation to hat off. Next, we're going to name a parameter for our new animation. So let's go back to the parameters menu next to our main menu here, and under the next available slot, let's put toggle hat. It's important to have the same name for the parameters so it can call back. So now that we've just set a parameter here, let's copy that, Control C. Let's go to our FX animator here and bring in the animator tab here. If you don't have it open, go to Window, Animation, Animator. Just drag it down in here and we can create the parameter here. We're going to create an integer and copy and paste that parameter that you set here next to the menu. Once we're done with that, we're going to create a new layer. We're going to name this toggle hat, and we have to set this weight to 1. Once we're done with that, we're going to drag in our animations here. So if we want our hat to be defaulted on, first we're going to drag in the hat on animation. Now if we want it to default it off, we'll just drag in the hat off. But in this case we want it on. Drag in the hat off animation right after. Now what we want to do is make a transition. So right click, make transition, hat off. In this transition here, we're going to add our condition. So let's click add here, the little plus sign, and we're going to call back to our parameter that we have defined earlier. It's just toggle hat. We're going to make sure that if the value equals 1, we want this animation to transfer over here so that the hat will turn off. Since this is a toggle, we're going to make it both ways. We're going to make sure that we can put back on our hat. So let's make the transition back here and click the top arrow. We want to add another condition here and click on toggle hat. This time we're going to set it not equal to 1. Now that we've done that, we can create our animation. To do that, let's hide our avatar, and to toggle this without clicking the button here, the shortcut is left alt shift A. And to duplicate it, we're going to press Control D, left alt shift A to re-enable the object. Next we're going to open this in the hierarchy, and we're going to drag our FX animator into our controller here. Once we do that, we can go to our animation tab, and we can select the animations that are in the animator here. Down here at the bottom left, we can select hat on, and then what we can do now is click the record button and click on our hat, Control-Shift-A, Control-Shift-A to turn it on. Make sure the game object is active. Next, we're going to copy this keyframe to the next keyframe here. Once we're done with that, we can just click the little record button here, click the preview button, and go to hat off. And for hat off, we're just going to toggle it off. Copy the first keyframe and paste the next keyframe in here. And once we're done with that, you can click both again, and we can actually test out without having to upload the avatar itself. To do that, make sure that the FX controller is still on here and it's on the duplicated avatar. We're going to click the play button and test this out. Now that we've clicked play, we can see that the entry has made its way to hat on. Now we can change this if we go to our parameter here and set the value to 1. Now that the hat is off, we can set it to 0 and see if it goes back. It does that. Perfect. Before we upload our avatar, we're going to go into our submenu here and add a control. For our hat, we're going to add a control. Call it toggle hat. And we're going to set it to a toggle. And then for our parameter, we have to make sure it's toggle hat. And the value is 1. Once we're done with that, we can finally upload it and test that on VRChat. But before that, if you want to enable world fixed objects, stick around. I'm going to show you how to enable a couch and have it stay there so that it doesn't move around with your avatar. Now that we have set a toggle for our avatar, we're going to learn how to set a constraint toggle so that whenever you toggle it, it'll be placed in the world position and it'll stay there. To do that, we're going to need world constraints, which I have provided a link down below. Download it and import the Unity package. Once you're done importing the Unity package, it should show up down here in VR Labs. You should have a folder called World Constraints, and it should be this world space box down here. What we're going to do is drag this into our hierarchy. This already has a box as like a sample object. What we're going to do is completely unpack it by right-clicking, unpack prefab completely, and then open these containers here. So what we're going to do is delete this sample cube and anchor. Drag this onto our model here, and whatever object we want to use, we want to have it enabled. So we want it to show in the scene. Now what we're going to do is drag this under container here, and we're going to set our constraints to our avatar. So what we need to do now is drag our avatar to the sources here, and we have one more here for the container. Once we're done with that, like the beginning part of this video, we're going to set some more toggles. So create animation, couch on, couch off. And like our parameters, we're going to have to set it here in our parameters menu. Toggle, copy the parameter, go back into our FX animator, and we're going to add another integer called toggle couch, and go back to layers. Now we can create a new layer called toggle couch. We can set that weight to 1. Since we want it to toggle, and I don't want this couch to be on all the time, I want to have the couch off animation set first. So when I go into VRChat, it's going to be stuck on this animation until I decide to toggle it. Then we're going to drag in our next animation and create a transition. We're going to set our condition here and set it to toggle couch, and same thing with earlier, gonna set it to 1, make a transition back and set that condition not equal to 1. Once we're done with that, we can set our animation. Just like earlier, we're going to hide, duplicate, and unhide. We're going to add the FX animator again. Go to our animation tab, go to couch on, click record, and instead of enabling and disabling the couch, we're going to do it to world. But as you can see, as soon as you click on world space, when you click the record button here, it goes to the constraint. A way around that is if you click your avatar in the hierarchy and you go to your animation here, click the record button, you want to hold control on your keyboard and click world space and just toggle this on and off. It'll trick it and then it'll turn it on here. So go back here, copy the keyframe to the next one, and do the same thing for couch off. Hold control, select world space, toggle on and off, and copy the keyframe over. Once we do that, we have to make sure that the object here is disabled for the off animation, and the on animation it's enabled. So once we're done with that, we can test it out. Let's go to the play button. And our couch is off. We can set the parameter to toggle couch, and we have a couch. Now that we're done, we can test our avatar, but first let's delete our duplicated avatar, re-enable our old one, and let's hide the couch in our hierarchy and drag it up a little bit. Now that we have our couch on and off, let's go back to our toggle menu, and we're going to add toggle couch. Going to set it as a toggle couch. Now what we can do is upload it, test. Okay, our test avatar is built. Let's test it out. Now that we're in game, let's test out our expressions. Let's go down to our menu, and we have toggle hat. That works, and toggle couch. Looks like it's not moving anywhere. That works. Alright, that was just a brief tutorial on how to toggle objects and have world fixed constraints. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.